Hi, my name is Yaron. I'm a bioinformatician at Genox, and my talk today is about our implementation for the new ClinGen, CGC, and VICC recommendations for the oncogenicity classification of somatic variants. So these guidelines were published in last May, and unlike the previous, the AMP, ASCO, and CAP guidelines, which address the issue of clinical interpretation of somatic variants, this new guideline came to address the pathogenicity classification of somatic variants, termed oncogenicity. So these guidelines were inspired by the ACMG and AMP German pathogenicity guidelines. They are score-based, and they contain 12 oncogenic supporting rules and 5 benign supporting rules. These 17 rules are coming from 5 main evidence type, population data, so how frequent is the variant in the normal population, functional studies, whether they support oncogenic effect or benign effect, predictive data, which is related to the impact of the variant on the gene or the protein, for example, loss of function variants in a tumor suppressor gene, computational evidence, which includes in silico prediction tools, and lastly, cancer hotspot, which is unique evidence for somatic variants, meaning variants which are variants which appear in amino acid, which are frequently mutated in tumor samples. As following these guidelines require handling variety of databases and tools and perform some challenging computational tasks, we developed Franklin oncogenicity classification. So Franklin is a web-based platform which follows these new guidelines. It suggests for the oncogenicity classification and its scores, and also tells for each rule whether it was met or unmet, and gives you detail for why it was met or unmet. So for example, we can see here the OS3 rule for a cancer hotspot was met, and it gives you the details for the reason it was. In addition, Franklin also performed the tier-based classification, so then you can couple both classification as suggested by the guidelines. And lastly, Franklin is a community-driven platform, so meaning people can also share their classifications and evidence and also communicate on top of it. So to evaluate the classification engine, we benchmarked it against the data set from the original publication, which contained 94 variants from 10 uniquely selected different genes. So Franklin achieved a high concordance, so 85 out of the 94 variants demonstrate complete concordance. And in addition, there was no strong conflicts at all, meaning no oncogenic or likely oncogenic variant was classified as benign or likely benign, and vice versa. So to summarize, the Franklin platform provides a simple and intuitive way to evaluate the new oncogenicity classification guidelines. It helps and automates complex bioinformatic challenges. It gives detailed reasoning for the classification for each rule. It's community-driven. It demonstrated high concordance with the expert, and it's freely available for either a single variant or a full case classification. Thank you.